Hey, welcome back to another edition of Chat and Design. My name is Ram Overset. I'm a graphic designer. Today, I'm going to be creating this design. With every Chat and Design, I'm trying to answer a question, and this week is from Batman3120, who asks, how your emotions at the time of making it changes how your art looks. And with this piece this week, you can see that how it changes, because I first start with the poster and kind of gradually changes into the final piece, because usually I have like an inkling of an emotion or like something that I want to make, and it's not until I start making it does it evolve. And usually my emotions are a huge part of that, because most of what I do is personal work. Most of what I'm going to feature in this series is personal work, and for personal work to actually be personal, you have to use what you know, what you feel, and I hope that comes across in this process video and also in how I explain it. Please let me know in the comments if it's helpful. And if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps out this channel. If you have any questions or you want me to talk about something in the next Chat and Design, please leave it in the comments below or in the community posts that I'll be posting later. Without further ado, here's the video. Thanks. When I'm with you. Hello, welcome to another episode of Chat and Design. Today we're gonna design a little book cover. Well, it's not gonna start that way. I want to show you guys sometimes things evolve, things change. Sometimes you're working on a piece, you think you're gonna make one thing, and then it kind of takes a life of its own. But welcome to another episode of Chat and Design, or CHAD for short, where today we're gonna talk about how to use emotion for your designs. And as you can see here, we always start, number one, start with inspiration. I was looking for crying eyes. I had an idea of crying eyes. I wanted like a teardrop. I wanted like tears streaming and like a gradient background. So right now I'm just looking for a photo of a crying, maybe a vector, maybe something I was figuring out. But somebody asked the question of how do you use, this was asked by Batman3120 on YouTube. They ask how your emotions at the time of making it changes how your art looks. And honestly, that is how I usually work. If you look at the 365, I kind of use it as kind of a diary. Like every day I was creating something, and where do you pull those art forms from? Usually from my emotions. But translating that into your like medium of choice is kind of hard to do. And maybe in this process video you could see where or how I do it. So right now I'm looking at a lot of just crying pictures. Yeah, I mean, again, like this is like usually I needed like something to start off with, and I had this idea of crying eyes. Some people always ask me like, what do I start with? Do I start with the text first or the image? And usually I would say the text first, but in this case I had like an idea of what the main image was supposed to look like. And here you can see that I went to stills, not sponsored. I was just curious where to get a good photo from. And with this one, I finally found a teardrop. I wanted this teardrop. I like this photo with the teardrop right there. And I was like, oh, I could probably threshold that. Like sometimes with the techniques that you've done, you kind of guess how it might look. And I definitely just wanted like a teardrop, like eyes and a teardrop. And you'll see later that I pull a lot of references. I'll show you the references that I use later on when it turns into a book cover. But right now, as of this point of the video, in my head, I was gonna make a poster. And I had an idea, like here you can see that I'm gonna drop it in. I'm gonna drop that image hot right there. And then I cut it out because sometimes when you do effects on images, when you create a smart object and you like do the entire like image, it just kind of lags Photoshop. So usually I'd want to try and not use the the whole image, just the part I want. And you can already see that it's coming together. Like this was pretty much what kind of close to what I have in my head. I knew I wanted like that kind of like thresholded look with the black outline, and you can see me experiment a lot with like I was just cutting out and masking things out. But yeah, that's the practical side. Like I think a lot of art, right? There's I think a lot of emphasis on the technical skill, and I'm not saying the technical skill isn't important, but like in my head, that is not my goal. My goal is to like, how do I achieve the idea or emotion I have in my head, and how do I translate that into the real world? That is usually I figure out a way to get to that point. And oh yeah, also in this part of the video, I use dodging and burning to fully to like make other areas of the thresholded areas. So when you're at threshold, it seems like you don't have control, right? But if you use if you use a dodge and burn into the smart object, you could actually control how much detail the threshold uses. So that's how you do that. But now you can see that the image is like forming, and at this point, maybe I'll just talk about like the emotions about this. I think the primary. I was listening to Snooze by SZA the entire time I was making this. I was trying to really get into the mood because, guys, I have a crush. Guys, I'm like, guys, I thought crushes would go away when you're like a kid, right, or like teenager. You think that would go away, but it doesn't. And I think that's a lot, like a source of a lot of my, well, not a lot, but like how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling like I have a crush, and it's like bothering me inside. And I think that's a lot of art. Like it bothers you so much, like whatever you're feeling, happy, depressed, anxious, in love, whatever. It doesn't matter what you're feeling, but if it's overwhelming you, or you can't suppress it, you just have to make it into art. That's how you know. And then you're trying to figure out how to transmute that into art, right? How do you make it into art? And this is my way. Like the emotions I was feeling. Okay, also is overwhelming. I don't know what to call it. Let me think about that, but let me explain what I'm trying to do in this part. I was trying to find like a streaming, in my head. Okay. In my head, the idealized version of this piece was, you see those emojis right there? Think about this, like if the gradient was appearing through those streams with the eyes, I wanted that, but I couldn't I couldn't like make it look correct with the flow of it. Like you'll see me attempt to do it, and it fails. I fail, and that's why I kind of pivot later. But back to the emotions. The emotions are, I have a crush. I'm not telling you guys who it is. They go to another school, okay? You wouldn't know them. It doesn't matter. What matters is I want to express that I have a crush with my art. If you look at the 365 again, if you look at the 365 and you look through that entire project, you could kind of see themes of how I was feeling throughout the project. And there's some sad days, there's some happy days, there's just some funny days, it's like a diary. And that's like one of the biggest things I miss about the 365 is like it was kind of a diary. It was like my way of expressing myself through graphic design. And I'll try to explain how I'm translating that into graphic design with this piece. So I feel longing, yearning. I don't know if this person likes me, so makes me want to cry. So how do I translate that into graphic design? So I'm trying. See, you can see the vision here. Like I'm trying to make it look like tears streaming down with a gradient, like I'm crying rainbows or some shit like that. I'm crying color, but it just didn't look correct. But feel free to take a stab at this idea. Like again, you could just steal any of this. Just credit me, okay? Just please credit me. If you've ever watched these videos, I would love to see what you make. I don't care. I just want to be credited somewhat if you take direct inspiration. Or not, I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. But here I'm just trying to figure out how to make that idea happen before I eventually give up and pivot to a different idea that I like more. But yeah, emotion, how to translate to graphic design. Well, first of all, in graphic design, you could actually use text. It's like one of the few art forms that isn't writing, where you can kind of express it into text, which I like to do with like motivational posters. Um, and I feel like a lot of people do that with with positivity posters, which I don't even. Do you guys think I'm in that genre of like positivity Instagram? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't even think I'm that positive. Like, I don't think I'm that positive. Like, I have some Like, I think I'm optimistic. Like, there is what is that word? There's a way where I'm like, I am optimistic, but I'm also a realist. Like, I think it's kind of a weird thing where I am optimistic about the future, but we have to do work. We can't just be sad and defeatist and give up. But you can see that I'm in the front page of Pinterest, and then you can see that top left again. That's me again. Anyways, see, look at that rainbow. I'm trying to do that. See that? I was like trying to figure out where to get it. I was like, okay, I'll look up Pinterest. Let me fucking see. But anyways, I don't think I'm positive, but I like I try to imbue my philosophy into my work as well. And I guess how do you translate that into your art? And for me, it's just easy for graphic design. It's kind of like if you're a songwriter or a singer, you make a song, you want to have a little bit of that in you. I think graphic design is so far away from like art. And I don't want to do the fucking, is graphic design art or not? I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like, but yeah, if you're working for a client, but for personal work, it should be art. It should be for you, and you can break a lot of rules or whatever. Just use the tools that we have as graphic designers to express what you're feeling. And if you're feeling sad, if you feel like crying, if you feel a certain way, if you believe something, it's kind of like propaganda posters. This is propaganda for my own ideas. Use your work as propaganda for your own ideas. So, like, just spread your ideas. My ideas is I have a crush sometimes, and I want to know who else got a crush. Who else. But I think that's more of a like I also like to the more I think there was a who said it? There was like a director or some shit. Someone said that the more specific you got, like if you make something and you just think about one person like that you're making it for, it will do the opposite effect where you think that like it's gonna be too niche when actually it's gonna be so it's actually gonna like resonate with a lot more people. But when you try to like make something that resonates with everybody that you think everybody will like, actually nobody will like it. It's kind of a very inverse effect. As you can see here, I'm trying that idea again. Sometimes you have to try these ideas, see if it works, see if it doesn't. And for me, it didn't work. So I was like, okay, this is just not working. It doesn't look good in my eyes, so I'm gonna give up. It's okay to give up sometimes, and rejection is redirection. See, put that on a goddamn poster. Put that on a goddamn poster. Here I get like, I think this is where I get the idea to put like white behind the eyes. As you can see, like also another thing about inspiration is I don't take it like you could like the one thing about inspiration is don't take it too literally. Like don't get one inspiration. That's why you need like a good visual diet so you have a lot of inspiration to pull from. So you could take bits and pieces from one piece and apply it to one aspect of your work. But if you just take from all one person or one artist, it's going to be really obvious and it's not going to look unique. You're just going to look like a clone of that other person. So I always try to like mix it up with my own little spice, whether that be the actual text or just like how the pieces put together. Yeah, emotions, crush, sadness. You could express it in different ways. First of all, the words, right? The words. but also the colors. Color is one of the primary way to express emotions. Like you might have to like look up color theory because I feel like a lot of people associate certain moods with certain colors. Like blue is sadness, uh, blue sadness, green is nature, red is love. Uh, I don't actually use any of that. I mean, I don't even know what I'm like in a mixed state where I'm not really that sad, but I'm also happy. I'm not that happy. I'm kind of in between because of I'm anxious. How do I translate that into the piece? I don't know. I just be clicking on gradients. Although these gradients are made by Andre Azizov, by the way, if you're seeing them, that's from his packs, which I use a lot. I don't like picking. I'm one thing about me. I'm lazy about color. I'm just lazy about picking colors. It makes me anxious actually. I'd rather have like a limited color palette, and like use the same like 5 colors. I usually use CMYK honestly, like the red CMYK red. I love that shit. But yeah, you gotta take aspects of what you're feeling and translate that into the piece. I don't really know how you do it specifically. I kind of just like have an idea of like this, like for example for this piece I was like, well, I feel like crying. That would be really cool on a poster. Maybe the text could say cry now, cry later. Something about crying. Something about something. It's just something about crying. Not that I'm sad, but it's like the overwhelming feeling of like the possibility. I think I've said this in my last caption about our creativity. It's kind of a double-edged sword because we could use our imagination to create beautiful works of art. Like that is the source of our power, right? Is our creativity. But also, if you're like an overthinker like me, uh and that creativity will actually turn against you. In which case, for me, I would like I think it's called maladaptive daydreaming, where I just kind of daydream. Like when you see somebody and you're like you just imagine your whole life with them. I'm like I sound so insane right now, but when you imagine that and then you snap out of it and you feel upset. I'm like, wait, what? Like, but like you like totally imagined that whole life together, and then it didn't happen, and then now you're upset it didn't happen, and you're not doing anything about it. So I'm like, well, I guess love doesn't exist. Love doesn't exist. Also, as you can see, that I like to zoom out. I think zooming out gives you a nicer perspective of like the composition, like if it works or not. So that's why I'm always zoomed out of with my canvas, because I like to see what it looks like from afar. I like to assume that someone is gonna be walking by this piece, and also it's a better simulation of a phone, because like you're gonna be posting this on like Instagram or Twitter. It's gonna look small on the phone, so looking at like seeing it from like far away is really helpful. But yeah, like you use your imagination and you could kind of overthink and think about like what horrible imagined things that'll happen, like just in general, like not even just about love, but like the world or some accident that might happen to you, or like how it might never work out, and just blah 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 blah. You could use that. It's a slippery slope, and that's because of our creativity. That is our source of power and our destruction. Because sometimes I'd be overthinking and it just makes me upset and I just get depressed, and I'm like, wait, why am I even depressed? Like I did this to myself. So I've been trying to, as I've gotten older, I've been trying better to like kind of distance myself from our thoughts. Like newsflash for you guys, you are not your thoughts. Like whatever you're thinking, that's just your thoughts. You could observe them and you don't have to do anything about them. Uh or that doesn't mean anything about you either. So those are just thoughts. Once you act on them, that's when it's good or bad, whatever you're thinking. But I think that's, and then I don't think you should make your thoughts really personal. You have to have like an impersonal view of them. And like, is it helpful? Is this thought I'm thinking right now, is this helpful in making my life better? And if it isn't, you just have to let it pass by. But if it's useful for you, like for your art or something, like, yeah, go ahead, use that. But like, if you really think about it, where do your thoughts come from? They just come out of nowhere. Like, you didn't think that. I'm like that's a philosophical question. I don't know where it come from. Like, yeah, there's probably a scientific, but like, who is the thinker here? Are you thinking, like, when I got the idea for this, am I thinking that, or like I'm just kind of doing? There's the thing about like certain pieces of art is that there's some pieces that I've made in like 20 minutes that are like, for example, the You Are the Universe one. That was made in like an hour or so. But that was kind of just like, it just kind of worked out. It kind of like made itself that this is kind of a woo spoiler alert, trigger warning. I might get woo woo spiritual here. But that is a big source of my art, is like my spirituality. I don't necessarily think I subscribe to any certain religion. I was raised Catholic, but I don't think there's like a literal white bearded guy in space judging us. But I do believe there's like something. The universe is something that is controlling us. Also, as you can see here, I'm trying to figure out now. Like, I've already liked this layout right here, and I'm like, all right, what text? I feel like now we need text. Also, I added that white layer underneath the eyes to make it really pop out, and I really like that. And now I'm just trying to figure out, like, what do I want to say? This recording was, obviously I recorded after I made this, but I was like crying something. I'm like, but then I dug deeper of what this emotion was. It was more about like my crush, because I didn't know about it at that time. Like, I was like, oh, where is the source of this? I was like, oh, I have this crush and I'm not doing anything about it. Do they like me? Do they not? Again, I feel like a teenager. I thought this would stop. I'm almost 30. Why am I having a crush? Why am I as an adult man? Why am I as an adult man getting a crush? Tell me that, viewer. Why is a man? Why am I? As just a man, actually. Why am I having a crush? No, having a crush is cool, guys. It's awesome until it's not. Like, and honestly, you got to use your emotions to propel you into something. Like something like that made me like motivated to like fucking do things. I was like, you know what? I will start posting again. You know, I will start doing stuff just to kind of get their attention. Even though I'm like, it's at this point I know how I work. Like when I get a crush, I get this manic energy, and I'm like just trying to exploit myself in a way where I'm like, oh, I know how I get, so I'm just gonna use this opportunity to start the momentum of creating work again. Because over the past few months, I've kind of been in like a rut, but now I'm like, I feel alive. Having a crush makes me feel alive. Okay. Like, even if it goes nowhere, I have already won because I have this crush, or I have this feeling, this energy. And you got to find that source of energy. What drives you? What drives you? Like, that should propel you into working. Whatever it is. Maybe it's a crush. If you have crush, go make some art about it. Use that feeling, whatever you're feeling, to fuel your art. If you're angry, make angry art. If you're sad, make sad art. I think there's also this like misconception of like, oh, if I'm depressed, will I stop making art? Will my art suffer for it? And I'm here to tell you now, I've been depressed for a long time. I've actually not been actually at this point in my life, I'm doing the best I am in terms of like mental health. And this is after 10 years plus of therapy. And I hope to be able to share it with you guys and how to, I don't know, help. But I'm here to tell you now that if you get better, or quote unquote better, or you're not as depressed, will your art suck after that? I'm telling you now, it won't. It won't suck. It will actually get better. Like, you are gonna be more in touch with the kind of art you've always wanted to make. And I know this is not even about graphic design anymore, but it does get better. Maybe I'll make a poster about that, but that's too cliched positive. It will. It's gonna be work. I still have rough days, but your artistic ability is not tied to how depressed you are. Listen to that again. Your artistic ability is not tied to how depressed you are. Your artistic ability is you. Like, that's, you did that. You make that happen. It's not your depression. It's you. Whatever that is inside you, that's you. You're making the art. The depression is not making the art. You are making the art. Okay. That could fuel your art, depression, love, whatever, but it's not you. But yeah, a little pep talk. Here, actually, I love the Great Gatsby cover. Actually, I think this piece was actually very inspired by that. Actually, I think I've been trying to make this piece for a while now. Like, I've never figured out how to make it until now. Like, I've had this, I feel like this idea of a teardrop with eyes have been gestating in my head for a couple of years now, and I've like just now figured out how to do it. Because I'm like, oh, this is the way. What am I searching here? I'm searching for, oh yeah, now this is what, at this point in the process, I was like, what if I do a cover? What if I do like a cover for a book that doesn't exist about having a crush? So I was like, maybe that could be a poster, and I'm gonna figure out at this part is that the 16 by 20 inches like format doesn't really work for a book cover because books they are not in that size. So I change it to the 5.5 by 8.5, 5.5 times 8.5 inches to make it work with this layout, because it just doesn't look right if it's not. It doesn't look like a book. It's not shaped like a paperback book. And then when I look at the pain of being human, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what I want to do. And also, I want to shout out another person who inspired this. Is directly inspired by Hannah Pale. Hannah Powell. Sorry if I butchered your last name. It's Pahl. You can check out their work right here. And they do really great book covers, like their own book cover work, and I love them. Definitely an inspiration. And honestly, I've been wanting to make something like this for a while now. I just haven't had like the right subject matter for it, but now I do with this whole yearning, having a crush idea. So I pretty much just transferred everything over to this canvas, and it worked out pretty well. So I was like, oh, this looks sick. And you'll see me abandon the gradient background because I was like, you know what if I just do a normal background? But yeah, emotions, again, how do you use it? You just use it. See, guys, that's what I mean. Like, I'm very bad at teaching. I'm like, how do you do this? I don't know. You just do it. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing what I know, which is moving things around on Photoshop. And how do you get better at that? You just keep moving things until you kind of get a sense of what works and not. Actually, like looking at Pinterest a lot, or just not even just Pinterest, looking at work, you got to get your visual diet up. You need to have a good visual diet. Have a visual diet of what you want your work to look like, plus also just art that you find interesting, and then they will all, like, you're kind of like ChatGPT in a sense. Oh, this is where I put the orange background. I'm like, oh, this looks sick. Anyways, but your ChatGPT, you are digesting all of this visual input, and you're gonna pop out your own interpretation of all that, and that includes your life. That includes your life experiences. Like, I think what makes good art is if you have your own point of view, your own emotions into it, like your own viewpoint. Again, for me, it's easy to like do that because there's actual words in my work. I don't know how to do it with like drawing or non-verbal way. I don't know how to do that in non-verbal, non-visual ways, but in this case, there's no face, which means I'm shy. I am shy. I'm actually just analyzing. I'm trying to like backwards analyze, retrospectively analyze my own work. So I was like, there's no face, there's only eyes because I'm yearning, I'm viewing, I am seeing this person with my eyes, and it makes me cry. And also I feel invisible to this person. Uh, this sounds so sad, but that is the that is the that is the feelings I'm feeling with this piece, which I am not thinking out loud while I'm making it, by the way. Like, I'm not saying this out loud. I'm like psychoanalyzing my own work, but that is the feeling, if because I made this just like maybe like an hour before I am recording right now. So I know the feeling is still fresh, because I was like, oh, I need to record the audio part of this now because I'm gonna forget what I was feeling. Because so I'm really trying, and you could see the text. If you see the text here, there's a lot of like how to stop crying, blah blah blah. I'm beating around the bush about what I actually want to express, because I am scared to actually make a piece about having a crush. Because I'm like, because it's so corny. It's like, why am I having a crush? Like, me as an adult, I should have a wife and child by now at 29. But I don't. Who does? If you're at my age and you have a wife and child, that's crazy. How are you doing that? Like, some of my friends have, or not even, well, actually not a lot of my friends, but there are some people from high school that I've seen. I'm like, what? How? You have a child? You have a wife and child? What do you mean you found your love of your life in high school? How, what? Like, you're telling me you met your partner in high school and you're like, yep, this is it, we're done. I sound like a hater right now. I sound like a massive hater. Like, oh, you found love in high school? Fuck you. Anyways, but that these are all the emotions. These are all the culmination of my thoughts and feelings ending up in this work. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you really if I really think about my work, that's usually what led to it. I mean, you can look. I could pinpoint. I could talk about pieces of work that I've done that I could point to what influenced that in my life. But also, this font is called ITC Avant-Garde. It is available on Adobe Fonts. Very good, made by Herb Lubalin. A very amazing graphic designer, very influential. I love his font. He also made ITC Serif Gothic. Yeah, he's done a lot of things. Maybe I'll do a video on him one day. But yeah, this is now we're getting closer to what I showed earlier in this video. How did we end up here? We ended up here. Now I'm just trying to figure out like what shape, like something about the shape of this face is bothering me, and how much of that do I want to be black, you know? So, but we're getting closer to the final piece of this. But yeah, use your emotions, have emotions. I think, guys, I think I want to say that go to therapy. I know that's like cliche now, but but also not a lot of people have gone to therapy. So maybe we should still say that. I think there's too many TikTok. Maybe I've seen too many TikToks make fun of that, but I'm like, I think it's still good. Also here, I'm just trying, at this point, I'm trying to figure out what text to have and where to place it. So I'm looking a lot on Pinterest of me, like just really looking at every single book and like get a sense of where do people usually place things, because obviously this is like a book parody, but I think one of the key things in making something good when you're basing it off like pre-existing things is where do people expect something to be in, because I still want those texts to flow better, and people expect things. I expect things like, where does it make sense to put this? And as you can see, I'm like rewriting this because like there is a Like I could feel when like the spacing and like how long the length of the line is. Like there's like a way to know, like I don't know how to explain it, but like I just know it feels not good. Like the way sometimes I have to like rewrite things because see, look at this one. One of the titles I was gonna use. I can't do this anymore. I want to stop. But you could tell like the like how, and this is just by experience or just like years of looking at text and finding out what you like and what works and what doesn't work, is like the spacing in between it. And I really just want to, like, if you want your work to be really good, you just need to like your graphic design or like how your words look, you just need to look at the letter spacing, like your kerning and your tracking, and then honestly just make it tighter. Just have tight kerning, but not too tight. You'll see me like, also this has like really great alternate glyphs, not gifs. So you can just, and you can turn that on in preferences. You see that little window. I turned it on like a couple of seconds from this point, but like you can turn that on in edit preferences and then turn on glyph menu or something. And at this point, I'm getting closer to the layout that I want. I mean, like, you know, it's funny. Like I saw a bunch of other videos that are kind of like this, where people are. Oh, then this is where I figure out what I wanted to say. I am yearning. Like, that's the title. That's the title. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I was watching a lot of like videos of where speed art videos where somebody talks over it, and I was like, oh, people have been doing this, and I love how in drawing, I feel like that makes more sense than a graphic design speed art, because design is usually just like moving things around until it looks good, and I don't know if that's even interesting to watch. Like, obviously I'm making this, and we'll check in 6 weeks if this will continue. Like, I'm gonna test it out and see if it works or not. But I was like, does this work? Do people like it? But I guess you guys like it. And hope you guys are enjoying the commentary as well, because I am enjoying it a lot. I like talking to you guys. I like to talk to you guys. I like to talk about, I have thoughts and feelings. I have a lot of things to say. And and I need a place to say them. And the place is here on Chat and Design with Overset X. But yeah, this was now I'm just trying to like, now I'm actually where I want to be. I'm like, all right, now the rest of this video is just gonna be me like fine tuning it, like putting little details, because at this point I think I have every detail, every like main part of the thing done. So now I'm at that point, just, you know what, guys, what else does this need? What else does it need? But I hope I answered that question about having using your emotions for your art. But depending on like what your emotion is, obviously you got to incorporate. We as a human species, we have languages, right? Like words mean something, so colors mean something, and not objectively. Obviously, you could use whatever color you want, but we have a visual language. Like, certain colors mean something, and you could exploit that. You need to learn the rules. You need to know what they mean first before you could like, what's the word? Subvert expectations, as they say. So you need to know the rules to break them. And I just know the rules are that certain colors make you feel certain things. Why did I use orange? Probably because Channel Orange from Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean is a very huge influence on my work. And orange feels like the most melancholy, yearning. It's the color of yearning. I think orange. Why do you guys think I like orange? Because I'm always yearning. Okay, I am yearning. I'm doing Kobe numbers of yearning. Okay, I'm doing Kobe numbers of yearning. Yearning for a relationship. I feel I'm getting really personal on here, but that is the reality. Like, artists always, I'm not trying to be mysterious. I want to be mysterious, guys. I'm not mysterious. Like, I mean, even my art is just like open about like how I feel. Like, whatever I post around that time is how I'm feeling. I'm very honest with how I feel. And I'm feeling your. I feel. I feel. I like. I like a girl. uh, and that's a great feeling to have. Use that for art. Anyways, okay. You know how in my head I'm doing this like penguin books. My name is Ram. I don't want to put my name on there. I want to put a Ram, like a Ram books. You guys following me? I put this Ram in here. I was like, ooh, that's gonna be fucking sweet. Fucking I the greatest graphic designer of all time. No one's ever done this with the little Ram. See that, guys? That's what called a visual pun. I feel like comedy in art is so hard. Like it's so hard to do. Like trying to be funny with art is one of the most difficult things. Like I'm talking about like visual arts. Like I'm not talking about like performances. I'm talking about like visual art. It's hard to be funny. Like doing a visual pun is so hard because usually it just comes off corny. That you end up with fucking like like annoying collage art. Sometimes that's how you end up with like when those collage art with like when like a girl is like fingering a book. Dude, you know that you've seen those guys. You guys have seen that. It's so corny. I get annoyed. I mean, it is clever, but it's like, oh brother, like I get it. I get it. You want to fuck a book. You want to fuck a book. Okay? I get it. Stop making this. Ooh, I'm fingering the book. This book is making me so horny. Guys, I'm having fun just talking on this thing. It's so funny. Also, do you think I should have a video section? Do you guys want like a little video of me in the corner here? Because I don't want to block anything. Because I was like, maybe I shouldn't be in the video, but maybe you guys do. Maybe I should put like what's that called? Subway Surfer. Do you guys want Subway Surfer in the corner? Like, let me know. I want to build this. I want to build this with you guys. And here I'm just trying to see where people put little text. I think one of the things that makes something real, this is a digital piece. This thing that makes something look really real is just like tiny text. And also try to like make it relevant to the piece. I know it is funny to just put like I don't know what belongs here, bottom text, which is funny still, but like sometimes I do want to put something that is relevant to whatever I'm working on. But what was I talking about? The book pussy. Can I say that here? Am I deep enough in the will I get censored? But yeah, comedy in art hard because then or a pun. Visual comedy hard. Without using words, I'm not saying that this little ram thing is that clever. Honestly, it's not really that clever. It's just a funny little thing I thought of. Like, oh, that would be cute. That'd be cute. You could be cute. Kind of reference. It's like a pun. I guess a pun, guys. You guys get it? My name is Ram, and then there's like a ram. Just looks like a sheep. Actually, you can't even see the horns, so maybe I should have changed it to like an actual ram. But yeah, very very fun piece to make. I love making books. Maybe you'll do more. And honestly, how about this, guys? How about I give you guys a homework assignment? Maybe I'll do this at the end of the video too. Like, you make your own book. You see how I did this? Don't follow it completely, but you kind of see how I did this. Go make your own book. Go express yourself with one piece of design this week or next week. Tag me. Make a piece based on your emotion. I got homework for you. Viewer, listener. Go make something that directly is something you're feeling. If you feel mad, you feel sad, you feel madly in love, you feel madly. Also here I was trying to say by your own mind. I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. It looks stupid. Like how it looks just doesn't look good. Doesn't look like an author. But you know, you gotta experiment, see what works, see what doesn't. Yeah, and I like showing this part of the process and sharing my thoughts. But yeah, give me more questions too. Maybe I like this format where I'm just centering it around one question. Emotions are good, guys. I think one of the key ways to enjoy your art is being able to express yourself, share what you're feeling. Is that why we do art? Is so we could express ourselves. I think there was a Vonnegut. Is that how you say his name? I saw a TikTok about this letter that he sent this one student. I think there was like a maybe I'll just play the clip right here. Here, I'll play the clip. I'll play the TikTok right now.
In 2006, an English class in this high school wrote persuasive essays to famous authors trying to get them to visit their school. It didn't work. None of the authors visited the school. But one of them, Kurt Vonnegut, wrote a letter back. So we paid someone on Fiverr to read what he wrote.
Dear Xavier High School, I thank you for your friendly letters. You sure know how to cheer up a really old geezer, 84, in his sunset years. I don't make public appearances anymore because I now resemble nothing so much as an iguana. What I had to say to you, moreover, would not take long. To wit, practice any art, music, singing, dancing, acting, drawing, painting, sculpting, poetry, fiction, essays, reportage, no matter how well or how badly, not to get any fame and money, but to experience becoming, to find out what's inside you, to make your soul grow. Seriously, I mean starting right now. Do art, and do it for the rest of your lives. Draw a funny or nice picture of Miss Lockwood and give it to her. Dance home after school, and sing in the shower, on and on. Make a face in your mashed potatoes. Pretend you're Count Dracula. Here's an assignment for tonight. And I hope Miss Lockwood will flunk you if you don't do it. Write a 6-line poem. About anything but rhymed. No fair tennis without a net. Make it as good as you possibly can. But don't tell anybody what you're doing. Don't show it or recite it to anybody. Not even your girlfriend or parents or whatever. Or Miss Lockwood, okay? Tear it up into teeny-weeny pieces and discard them into widely separated trash receptacles. You'll find that you've already been gloriously rewarded for your poem. You've experienced becoming, learned a lot more about what's inside you, and you've made your soul grow. God bless you all.
Yeah, so I really like that one part where he says it's about becoming. Your art is about becoming you. Like you find out more about yourself through your art in the process of making your art. And I think whenever I get frustrated with my art, it's because my talent or like my skill level is not at to par of what I actually feel like. You know what? Like I think you could guys. I don't know if you guys can relate to this where you know what you want to make. It's in your head, but your actual known skills, it's so hard to make it into reality. And once you figure it out, for example, for this piece with that eyes, like how the eyes look and the teardrop, I've been thinking about this for like a year and a half. And I think there's some pieces before this that kind of look like this that is not exactly as good as this one. So I think that's like a part of the iterative process where you kind of, again, finding out about yourself through your art, becoming that artist that you want to be, or just becoming yourself. Like you are all the pieces of art, like all your art should represent you. Like whenever I see a piece of art, it always says something about the artists themselves. I know that seems duh, but I think as an artist, when you're actually making the art, it kind of feels different where you're like, I gotta just figure out, because you're thinking about so many things other than the art. It's just like, is this gonna work? How do I make money? Is this even good? Will other people like it? When we should be focusing on like, how does this make me feel? Is it true to me? Also, with this text, I kind of bended it a little bit. So it's kind of like a face. So it's kind of like a happy face, which I think is clever. It's clever. Okay. I like it. So Well, yeah. After this, I think this is the part where I'm like, you know what, this looks good, and I'm gonna move on to texturing. And I go to Texture Labs. If you guys want really good textures for free, I know I plug Andre and a bunch of other people's paid stuff, but texturelabs.org is free, and there's so many textures there. And here I'm trying to look for the specific weathered book texture that I know he had because I've used it in like a client before. So I use Texture Labs when I need, and they have a lot. Like Brady, I think that's his name, Brady Texture Labs. I love saying someone's first name and then their last name is just their username. So Brady Texture Labs, Ram Overset Text, very funny, makes me laugh. But yeah, go check them out. Check that website out. Also, they have amazing tutorials that are way more structured than this. Let me tell you that this is free form. You know what? Honestly, nobody's done this thing before. Literally, nobody has done this before, where you just kind of ramble on while your process is playing in the background. Nobody's ever done it, guys. I'm gonna be real. I'm a little bit insecure. I thought there would be more to that, but no. I meant like because I still don't know. Like for example, my YouTube thing is like I want to make certain YouTube stuff, but like I just don't know how to do it yet, and I also get scared because like what if it's not good? What if it doesn't? But like all I know is like I have to just make stuff, and even just this talking to you guys is actually making me feel like, oh, like even if I make stuff that, and not that I don't like this, I'm talking about like I just need to get that creative momentum. So this is again like my posters. I want to create I think I'm figuring out like I want to create videos that are kind of like a diary in some ways, like in a literal sense. How am I feeling that way? Like maybe I've been approaching video content. Also, I just hate saying content, videos in a different way because I'm like I'm supposed to teach you guys something. I'm supposed to show you, like I'm supposed to do this, supposed to like structure it in a YouTube video fashion. But I'm like, I don't like like that. Like I'm trying to compromise in a way that because YouTube is still an algorithm, and I think I've kind of done that with my art. On not on my art on Instagram, where I'm like, okay, I gotta compromise a little bit if I want to grow. And by compromise, I mean just kind of like doing what works. But I don't know what works yet on YouTube, so I'm like, need to keep trying. I need to know what works or what doesn't. Anyways, this is just all a stream of consciousness about this. But here, I actually do use Andre Azizov's textures. Also, life hack: if you have a black texture, if you just invert that, you could use it for the lighter parts of the image. Nobody wants to say that. They don't want to know you. They don't want to tell you the secret, but you actually get two textures with one black texture. You don't have to buy the white texture and the black texture separately. You could just invert them and you could still use them. Also, I think I almost like finished this piece, but I was like, oh, the kerning isn't right, so I tightened up the kerning. It's like the Y was not the space between the Y and E were not right. So I was like, But yeah, this is pretty much the end. You know, put the white texture on multiply, dark texture on screen, and I play with the brightness and levels. I honestly just do those two things, levels and brightness, and I just kind of arrange it to look like it actually looks like a book. Isn't that neat, guys? Would you guys read this? The I Am Yearning book, a guide on how to survive having a crush, how to not go insane while having a crush. The guide is to make art. Make art about it. Make a whole YouTube video talking about it, and you will get it out of your system. Actually, if you actually have a crush, you just need to let it play the course. Like it will wither and die if you just don't give it attention. It'll just go away. Actually, you will get bored. Like your brain will get bored. I trust you. Trust me. You just need to let go and just feel the feelings, and it will pass. Everything passes. This too shall pass. Just like gas, this crush will pass. And here I decided that I wanted to actually show like the first 2 pages or a few pages. Again, stolen from Hannah Pale. She had like a couple pages of what's inside one of her like book designs. So chapter 1, how to deal with it. I think that just kind of that would just be funny. And the actual text inside is it's you'll see what it is. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Here it is. Look at it. Bunch of nonsense. Just maybe I should have left it as lorem ipsum. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I just texture it again. Also, to get the crunchy text, I usually just do crystallize. I didn't do the whole thing I did last episode, because I don't need to do all that. I just need to get it a little bit blurry. Because when you scan, you're assuming that you're scanning this, right? Like it's a scanned book. So it's usually never that sharp. So, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. This is pretty much the end of it. Please feel free to send me any more questions for the next topic. Again, weekly schedule, baby. We're gonna be weekly, and it's gonna be week 2, week 3. I mean, guys, I would already have designed this anyways. So I was like, why as well just record it, right? Like, just record it and like make a video out of it, and be able. And this is a chance for me to talk to you guys. Let's make community. I don't know how to make. Do I want a Discord? No. It's gonna be a Discord for the Patreon. I'm saying this out now. It's a soft launch. Well, it's not even soft. It's not even launch. It's a soft preview. There will be a Patreon that not necessarily a YouTube Patreon, but you will receive a postcard every month. It's more of a postcard Patreon, but also includes all my YouTube stuff. Yeah, I just felt like saying that so I could get off my ass and finish the Patreon video, or start it. Anyways, this is the I put it in a 16 by 20 like box so I could post it on Instagram. So maybe we should bring back the black background, guys. Maybe black background is back. And here it is. Here's the final thing. The cover and then the first 2 pages. And yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye.